I told y'all, we got the game on lock. Crank Lucas the rap deucer. Team Real Racing. Y'all already know we won. Off-road racing, quick as in the desert. To the finish line, passing through the checkers. It's Team Real, we just much better. When we on the track, we apply that pressure. People lined up screaming from the sideline. When they see the UT class fly by, or they see me in the truck doing drive-by, in the Parker Dam or in the Baja. Every time you see me rolling through inside a buggy, and I'm counting up the money, cause I came to multiply it. Push a 1200 horsepower in the motor, you don't really wanna race me, I dare you to try it. Started up the engine, now my wheels on fire. Zooming through the track while I'm burning up the rubber. Better get them slow waves out of my water. You don't wanna see the shark or there's a crusher. It's Team Real, y'all know what the biz. Crank Lucas and I'm spinning on the wheel. Doing 160 past you so fast when the wind hits your body, get the chills. Telling everybody they can eat my dust, but I guarantee you won't beat my best. Pop a champagne when I'm at the finish line and I'm holding up the trophy and I beat my chest. What first place look like it's me? I don't do twos and I never met a three. People know the Team Real logo when I'm running through the desert and I'm running all through the streets. Never have to cap my race game tight. My vehicles can go all night. Foot up on the gas, I can never break right because I'm allergic to all the red lights. Team Real, Team Real. Everybody thinking that they faster till they gotta race. Team Real, Team Real. All about the speed and you can see it all up in my face. Team Real, Team Real. Real scared money don't make no money. It's Team Real, Team Real. Hit the motor rumble and the tires burning from the rubble. Team Real, Team Real. Everybody thinking that they faster till they gotta race. Team Real, Team Real. All about the speed and you can see it all up in my face. Team Real, Team Real. Real scared money don't make no money. It's Team Real, Team Real. Hit the motor rumble and the tires burning from the rubble.
You want to know what's going on in your dirt sports world? Whether it's four wheels, two wheels, Dirt Sports World's got you covered. From the dirt to the dunes, we bring you the latest action in racing, to lifestyle, the newest parts, the newest vehicles, and what the superstars of off-road are up to. Check out our social media for up-to-date information on Instagram, Facebook, Dirt Sports World, and more in depth. And check out the magazine at www.dirtsportsworld.com. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Dirt Sports World, for some great videos. So make sure to follow us and come get dirty with us.
Once again, reigning supreme, Connor Barry, the three-time iRacing Short Course National Series champion.
One thing I would like to tell my competitors is the job is not done yet.
You can see that Luke Canutt wants to end the season on a high, did not want the fight to end like this.
Second place in the championship, but that's not over yet.
But the championship leaders banging and rubbing doors on the run towards the line. Whoa. Connor Barry tried everything. Experience from the real world to the virtual as well, because then Dashley makes a mistake.
It's going to be a new Dashlette this year, so hopefully this means that I'll be running up front more.
and history made. Team Gold and Briley on top.
One thing I'd like to tell all the competitors for 2025 is watch out, Team Gold's coming.
The 2-year wait for victory lane may continue for Keaton Swain.
Winning is important. You know, I show up to win, so obviously winning is everything.
Just 2 rounds remain in the 2025 iRacing Short Course Pro 4 National Series presented by Team Real Racing and APV Simulators. However, 3-time champion Connor Barry stands just a handful of laps away from confirming himself as a 4-time champion and putting the rest of the field on notice. Hello everyone, welcome along to RaceSpotTV. Our Junior Kanky Party joined alongside not by Dave Arnold but by Joe Peak instead. Joe, it's so good to have you back, part of the iRacing Short Course National Series world. And well, it's not an unfamiliar scene that you find yourself joining Connor Barry on top and looking to confirm himself as champion once again.
I'm just not the least bit shocked, and it's so good to be back. I love getting to call this series and really look forward to seeing what these drivers have in store for us at what is basically a bull ring of a circuit here.
Bull ring indeed, and next week we of course will head off to Crandon. 10 wide, we'll fly our way down into the opening corners of the race, but that's all to come. Firebird Motorsports Park, where these drivers enjoy the final of the Triple Crown events this season, a slightly different format that we'll talk you through in just a few moments time. But drivers that have had a couple of weeks off, here's how those championship standings lie, and of course a big gap at the front, Joe, what everyone's going to be talking about.
Exactly. Like you said, Connor very close to really solidifying himself, and Luke Knup's honestly got very little chance at this stage. Keaton Swain and Nicholas Dachelet, though, probably going to try and do their best to see if they can at least steal that second place away, so watch out for them. And as well, all the drivers behind them here in the top 10, very, very close together. There is still plenty for them to play for.
Absolutely, when we'll talk about playoffs and the run towards the World Cup later on this year. Team Championship, 30 points at the front between Channel 199 Sim Racing, of course, led by Connor Barry. Factory Sim Sport, Keaton Swain's been powering them for the most part. Second position on the board with Team Gold and Racecraft Academy. And Impact Sim Sport, the rest of the top 5. Let's also talk about power rankings, because it has been a couple of weeks since we've last been on track. Of course, you expect to see Barry, Knupp, Swain at the top. Brody DeShore and Sean Winkler have crept their way up into the top 10. You can see as well some movement for Josh Edmondson, for Cody Winicki as well. These are the drivers that I guess Joe will be watching out for here tonight.
Yep, now is a great opportunity to try and get yourself up there. You could outperform yourself at a place like this where things can suddenly fall apart for others extremely quickly.
So qualifying about to get underway. I did mention we're going to talk about the playoff situation. Let's quickly do that before we dive in to that qualifying itself. New for this year is the fact that we'll have a Pro 4 National Series, a Pro 2 National Series, which, by the way, iRacingShortCourse.com. Registration is open for the qualifying series that will run in the month of August. So after the Pro 2 Series, we'll have the combined championship standings, and 16 drivers will advance to the World Cup later this year. But 5 drivers have already won events this season, Joe, and have locked themselves in. So Barry, Knupp, Swain, Mittag, and Adams, a couple of drivers could join them starting here tonight with our Triple Crown format, which means 3 longer races than normal.
And this is a place where you want those slightly longer races to try and make up for things, especially if you're inadvertently in the back. Qualifying going to be very, very important, which we see just starting now. Getting yourself that good at starting position and then not letting things go awry early in the evening.
There are the medals, by the way, behind Connor. Barry, new for this year as well. Every driver has gotten one of those for winning an event. Barry's just happened to win a handful of those. Batman, as ever, watches over the shoulder of some of our drivers. There's Zach Drapkin pulling on the gloves. 10 minutes on the clock for this qualifying session, and drivers only get 4 laps, so there's no urgency by any means to head out there, and that's why, Joe, you see some of these drivers a little bit more slow to head out there and less urgency on their faces.
Probably just trying to get a feel for, what the playing field is going to look like. And plus, you do have time if you feel like you don't like the warm-up lap to park it and send it back in to try again. Make sure that you're really happy with how the car has been set up and on its way. It's going to be very small margins that make the difference on the lap times here, since we're looking at just over 34 seconds just to circulate around here and only 4 corners. So there's not many chances to try and make up or lose time.
Plenty of opportunities to make mistakes, though, if you ask me, from behind the safety of the mic rather than from behind the wheel. We'll note, have already seen Christopher Plumley jump into chat. Want to wish him and his partner congratulations. Baby number 5 was just born this past week, and his kid's also playing his first baseball game of the season, so he's not racing tonight, but he's got other things, hopefully back with us for the championship finale. Like Joe mentioned, waiting for the playing field to really be represented right now. There's about another 15 trucks on track at this moment. Fapparan's continuing to circulate around and pound around his 4 laps that he gets that are timed. I've also seen Luke Knupp head out there very early, so we're going to get a bit of a benchmark pretty soon from someone in that championship hunt and only looking for number 1.
Yeah, if you think about the timing, you could theoretically wait to 3.5 minutes left to go on the clock and still get out there and get your 4 laps in. I wouldn't recommend it, but it gives you some time to sit and think. And sometimes some drivers will do it where they essentially take 1 lap and then they'll sacrifice one of their laps by parking the truck, waiting for a second, heading back out for a second lap. So don't be surprised if you see a few drivers just sit and wait in pit lane after they put one down, even though they have laps left, to try and hold on to it for later to see if they need it.
So we saw from Luke Knupp. See if we get now a response from Edmondson, Drapkin, King, Barry. There's a handful of trucks out there on track. We'll also call out, since the last time we went racing, a handful of our drivers, Barry, DeShure, and a couple more, including, I think, Zach Drapkin, went racing at Wheatland in the real world, and plenty of them picked up medals as well. So big congratulations to those that went out there to compete. And I saw plenty of the community watching and supporting as well. Mason Prater, he's up to 2nd. Sean Winkler's up to 4th position, but we're still waiting for Connor Barry. Dashley in the air. It's a 35 for him. He's going to drop himself down outside of the top 5.
And we don't see a lap from Zach Drapkin as well either. Crystal King still needs to put one on the board. You mentioned Connor needs to set a time. So a lot of drivers that are waiting till the latter half of this one. Here is on board with Connor Barry, seeing what it looks like coming up over the jump here and towards the end of the lap. A couple of very tight corners to end it up, and especially these whoops. Very technical, very difficult to try and get the right time. Boy, he was really bounding the back of the truck over that.
So Trenton Briley, he set his first lap time on what was his 3rd attempt. Nicholas Dashley's gone to 2nd by 21 thousandths of a second. Remember, his first time didn't count. And Connor Barry, 16 thousandths off of pole position. Luke Knupp's time still stands strong. And Barry hasn't bailed from this lap just yet, Joe. He's going to continue down towards turn 3.
Interesting. So will we see him try and do all 4 laps in one here, or is he going to maybe take a break somewhere in it, maybe on lap 3? Again, really the rear of the truck just catching that last little mound in the whoop section and kicking it up into the air. This second lap, is it an improvement? 34.3. Yes, it is.
And so, by a 10th of a second, he takes the top and now bails to wait and see if he needs to go back and respond. Half this session is done and dusted. Luke Knupp still got 2 laps with which he can set an improvement of a lap time as Crystal King ramps her Shenandoah Shine 278 off the wall. This is her best qualifying effort of the season so far. 4th provisionally and down to turn 2 for her.
Seen a lot of improvement from her over the last couple years, finding so much speed out here, clearly figuring some secrets out at Firebird. But coming around the last corner, we're going to watch, well, actually, no, it's halfway through the lap here for Josh Edmondson, who we've switched to. I'm keeping my eyes on Crystal, but she doesn't improve, it looks like. Let's see where Edmondson places himself.
Now, he's not in motion. We have seen some of the rigs. Joe and I were laughing a little bit about some of the brutality of the movement from some motion rigs for some of our competitors before we went live. Josh Edmondson is in virtual reality, which we talked plenty about, being able to move around your field of view and look at the trucks you're battling, you know, door to door with. That can be very, very important. Tyler Shattuck is right on the bubble. 16 trucks advanced directly to the main events. Keaton Swain's just gone to second by 27 thousandths, and now Shattuck's on the cut line. Will he find some improvement in what is his final attempt in the session? 34.590. He jumps his way up to 10th.
Nicely done. Still waiting on Tyson Miller with these 3 minutes left. He's just starting his first flying lap here, and again, should have plenty of time to get all of the laps in, but now he doesn't have time for a pause.
I'm just looking through the timing screen. Are there many other trucks with times outside the top 16 still yet to improve? Eric Jones has got a couple of laps, but no one else except Tyson Miller. So there's the opportunity for some to grab pole. Luke Canucks roared his way back out onto track, still waiting for Nicholas Dashley to join him, but Tyson Miller, the Terminator, in the air, and it's a 34.729, about 4/10 off of the pole position time. That does get him into the show.
Just barely, though. He's in the top 16 at 16th right now. He's going to carry on these next few laps. I do see Keith Jeffrey out there. He could maybe bump him down. So this is quite literally on the bubble for Tyson Miller.
Let's keep an eye as well on Luke Canuck through the whoop section. Tyson Miller really sent it here. Is the APV Simulator number 5. Dropped down to 3rd, but has been waiting since the opening of the session. Tyson Miller up to 5th. He's safe now. What a lap time under pressure from the Terminator. It's a bit wide down through turn 2, though. 14 golds, number 5. Through the whoops. That was a very, very good line. And now can he get himself through that final corner and through the air, cross the line and improve to pole position? 34.481. It won't be pole. It is an improvement in time, though, I think, as he ramped himself off of turn 1.
Yeah, you'll see these trucks try and do that here. Just use that little bit of edge of the track to try and kick off of. You just got to be careful that you don't hit it too hard and wind up turning yourself over, especially when you're racing other trucks on the track at the same time. It can easily find yourself hip checked in there and turned on your lid.
See if this is going to be enough for him to find his way forward. There is an invert that we'll talk about for the main events. No improvement. In fact, it's even slower than that previous lap. And so Connor Barry seemingly safe at the top with just Keaton Swain and Nicholas Dashley on what will be their final attempts. Keaton Swain's, I think, headed through the final couple of corners. There comes Nicholas Dashley down to turn 3. Keeping an eye on Keaton Swain. No improvement from him, but he will, I think, still have one more lap on the board. So here comes Dashley. What's he got in store?
And Jeffrey, I think, is just barely going to be able to get to the line in time, so he could jump up into that top 16 as well. It's Hadley Boyce who is sitting in that 16th spot right now. And here is Keith coming around turn 3 up into 4 as he tries to cut in early like we've seen a lot of drivers doing tonight. And then off the line, it's going to be right down to the last second.
Dashley does not improve, by the way. Keaton Swain similarly close to the checkered flag and crossing the line. He invalidated his lap at the very end. And while Keith Jeffrey doesn't improve either, that means 16 trucks have slid their way into our 3 main events slightly later on. But we've got 2 LCQs left to fight our way through. And so fast and furious action in front of us. Let's take a look at the starting grid for the first of those chances for 2 to advance to the back of the 3 main events. Remember, 16 have advanced, and through these next couple of races, 4 more will join them. Austin Schreiber, Eric Jones at the front of the field, with Dennis Mickelson, Christian Noble, and then Fouad Baran rounding out the 5 trucks. So not many competing, but not many advancing as well, Joe.
Exactly. You're looking at a little bit less than half that's going to find their way into those features. So those in the latter half of the field have got to try and hustle and be aggressive to make the passes. You have precious little time to try and get through here. Only 6 laps to try and sneak by.
6 laps at a track where lap times are 34 odd seconds. Probably add a couple of seconds with the amount of fighting that we're about to see. Here's the look as the chopper cam gets up close. Behind the 502 of Eric Jones, you have that Boozy Racing entry, of course. Don't forget, you can go to boozyjerky.com, use the code iRacing short course to get 15% off your order. A shout out to Boozy Jerky for their support of the iRacing short course series. Race Control's just doing their final checks right now. Quick audio back and forth with all the drivers, making sure they're ready to go. Something fun that I do enjoy that they do in the world of the iRacing short course series. I think we're also going to get a chance to quickly catch up with our pole position winner, though. Connor Barry standing by with Joe Peak.
Connor, pole position, so there's some of the hard work done and out of the way. How you feeling coming into tonight being so close to another title?
Oh yeah, I'm feeling good. The qualifying was tough out there. That was definitely a super tough track out there. Been testing on a lot of dry dirt, and that dirt was soaked. So I'm glad that I was able to go out there and get the pole, and we're gonna have a battle up front.
Obviously, we have the invert. How important is track position going to be for you today?
The biggest thing is being smart here. The points are good, so we need to be smart here, and we can go get this done.
All right, best of luck, and hopefully we'll get to chat to you more over tonight.
Thank you.
So there you go, Connor Barry sitting on pole, Arjuna, and sounds fairly confident, I feel like.
I'm not surprised. He has 3 wins in these Triple Crown events. Luke Knupp has the other 2. But Barry and Knupp enter tonight tied at 4 race wins apiece, and that will be a talking point once we get into the first of the main events, which is 10 minutes in length, and then we'll start to add time onto the clock as we work through the night. Again, this is just 6 laps, as will be the second of the LCQs. 5 enter the arena, that is the Firebird Motorsports Park in this respective LCQ, with 2 to move on forward. Austin Schreiber, Eric Jones share the front row, but in some ways, I feel like I'd rather start in 3rd position than start in 2nd in some of these races, especially with how we know turn 1 can go. However, Race Control did tell all of these drivers pre-race, Joe, no slide jobs and no dive bombs through the opening couple of corners. That is going to be enforced by Race Control.
Yep, they want to see everybody get an equal chance at this one. So once the cars get spread out after the first lap, then, you can start to try and make those sort of moves. But doing it on the first lap really can accidentally ruin someone's night and just take them out of contention right from the get-go.
And an early shout out to Aiden Irvine, as ever, in the Race Control booth. It's Austin Schreiber in control of the field. And already Eric Jones lying back slightly, trying to time this initial getaway. LCQ runners go for the final Triple Crown event in the Pro 4 National Series. Challenge for 2nd immediately, but Dennis Mickelson does not get the elbows out, gives plenty of room, and so Jones ramps around the outside and holds on to 2nd.
You're going to see that momentum being very important at a place like this, where so many of the corners are so tight. Pretty much every single one is a hairpin, essentially, as you're going 180 degrees or more on some of them.
This is a quite remarkable shot, by the way, through the whoops. Look at the motion rig throwing Fouad Baran around. Great to see just how physical this can be for those in the real world. And sometimes I'm glad I don't have a motion rig, just looking at how hellacious some of those bumps can be. He's starting to lose some ground, though, to those in front. Jones and Mickelson still 2nd and 3rd, and starting to lean on one another slightly. Austin Schreiber's got some ground as they dive to turn 3.
I mean, watching that, I legitimately would fear for my my neck and having some sort of injury. So yeah, it really does drive it home. But speaking of driving home, look at Schreiber really starting to put some distance up there.
Pretty impressive drive so far. We haven't yet hit the halfway mark. That was a little interesting through the landing into turn one. Eric Jones looked like he was getting a bit out of sorts, but that's what makes this sort of racing so interesting, Joe, right? The fact that you've got to be setting the truck up before you're in the air, because once you're in the air, you've got very limited control. Dennis Mikkelsen and Christian Noble are very, very close as we head on to those final 3 laps, though, of this LCQ.
Racing is always about, looking forward and thinking ahead rather than what's right on top of you. And it's even more so in this style of racing because, like I said before, it's all about momentum. Those trucks are going one direction, and it's going to be very difficult to change that direction. So you really have to be gentle with them.
900 odd horsepower through 4 wheels compared to the 2 wheels that we'll be using in the Pro 2 National Series, which, like I mentioned earlier, qualifying underway in August, the racing around, I think it's October time frame. So you've got your opportunity to head on to iRacingShortCourse.com, sign up now, and be part of that qualifying series. 2 laps to go. Schreiber clear at the front of the field, and Mikkelsen losing a bit too much ground. He's out wide through turn 1. Eric Jones looking somewhat comfortable in these remaining couple of laps.
Yeah, this is exactly what Jones wants in this situation. The last thing you need is to have someone breathing down your neck and really threatening to try and overtake. Having that distance means he can just focus on his own race. All he needs is this second place. So he really doesn't need to try and catch up to Austin. This just kind of releases a lot of that pressure.
See, Fouad Baran has taken the tow back to pit lane, so that's him done for the night. Remember, there's no second chance after this LCQ. It is as simple as that. Might be an issue on that truck as he almost falls lazily over the jump and then resets, but white flag in hand, Schreiber, Jones, and then Mikkelsen with a couple more corners left to try and make some magic happen, but it's going to be a little too late. Schreiber and Jones will dance their way into the main event, survive the whoop section. Oh, it's easier said than done sometimes, it feels, but these drivers have done just enough. They'll watch the second LCQ, and then they'll gear themselves up for 3 main events later on tonight.
Yep, this is always really nerve-wracking in these races, so excellent job by Schreiber and Jones here to bring it home, get themselves into the feature races, but Mikkelsen and Noble are probably going to get a little bit more rest than they anticipated.
More than they'd like, that is for sure. These races can have as many as 11 and 12 trucks, by the way, so we're seeing less chaos than we could. Cody Vanderveer, Keith Jeffrey, they're in the hot seats, if you will. Adam McAfee and Wes Graham want to punch their way forward, and that's it. It's 2 to advance, 2 to miss out. That's the story of LCQ2.
So fewer trucks might sound like it makes it simpler, but it almost becomes a game of musical chairs then, and you don't want to be the one still standing when that music stops. So once they get past that first lap and they're out of that range where they don't want them to make the slide jobs, I expect this one to be even more aggressive.
Just a reminder, if you're new to the Triple Crown format, after this race, we'll have a brief intermission, but don't go far because we'll have 10 minutes for the first main event, 12 minutes for main event number 2, and all leading to a 14-minute main event 3 with a couple of inverts in those second and third races. All 4 drivers are now on the grid. We're just waiting for race control to get us underway. And then Cody Vanderveer, Keith Jeffrey, a couple of those drivers find themselves in a decent position. Adam McAfee has got Batman, as ever, looking over his shoulder. And then, I hate to say it, but someone has to. Joe, Wes Graham self-titles himself as Wes the Mess. He can't mess this up, that's for sure.
No, won't want to. And I mean, I guess there could be worse things that you're nicknamed out there, and at least he embraces it. One thing that you wouldn't expect for this style of racing is precision is still so important. So you don't want to be a mess. You don't want to be messy. You want to really be able to hit your marks and be consistent each and every lap.
And you mentioned Crystal King's evolution in the last couple of years. I think the same's true for many drivers in this series, including Wes Graham. It was the unfortunate announcement that came this past week that the regional series will not be run later on in 2025, but I think that's in some ways a testament to how it's built up the likes of Crystal King and the Wes Grahams. Not always maybe race winners, but in that mid-pack and solid enough that they're going to be around and putting themselves further and further forward the more that they learn. Let's go for LCQ2 though. Remember, 6 laps on hand, 2 to advance, 2 to miss out. Simple stuff it sounds, although Keith Jeffrey's already lost out. McAfee straight up the inside, and now the fight back up to turn 2.
Yeah, he just got into the back of the car in front of him, and it forced him to check up, but he's trying to get back in it. Did a great job back into P2, but he's got to watch out because McAfee is still right on his heels.
I didn't ever even notice the Team Gold logo in the Batman. I've always been too fixated on the Batman itself, but McAfee up the inside. He wants to join some of his teammates in the main event, but that's not going to work. The momentum builds a long way around, and Keith Jeffrey holds on. And so no changes at the end of the opening lap, but plenty of fighting.
Yeah, and at least for now, they are very much in contention. Oh, as they get very close coming through that turn 2 sequence. It's always very compressed together, and there just is tantalizingly a move that looks like it's always on, but you have to be patient and really wait for the right time in some of these, because you can see they get that overlap as they all kind of slide around.
And this is where the Pro 2s would be slightly different, when you can't rely on the front wheels to get you out of trouble. Someone like Josh Edmonds has talked about preferring 2-wheel drive in the past. McAfee tried the slide job through 1. Didn't quite pay off. Next time by, when we cross the line, it will be 3 complete, 3 left to go. Here at, of course, what is a bull ring. Next time out will be at Crandon, 1.5 miles in length, but we will start 10 wide. That always leads to chaos. But our championship may already be sorted by then. It will be drivers behind fighting for bragging rights, because let's not forget, Joe, everybody in this series has had a championship build up to this point, and they want to finish it as best as possible.
Exactly. Whether you're fighting for, the last couple of spots or for the win, you want to end on a high note. Momentum is everything psychologically as well in racing. And this is definitely a lot closer than what we saw in that first heat, because, first to last, it's still almost 1.5 seconds between everybody.
Cody Vanderveer is 17th in the championship, and I'm pretty sure he's been part of the main events of both of the previous Triple Crown events this season, so that's a streak he'd want to continue. And 2 laps to go. McAfee running a different line. He's trying something different, but it's cost him a bit too much time now, and he's got a lot of ground to catch up, but there's contact between the top 2. Contact that's not necessary. They're starting at the back of the field no matter what, Joe. Yes, you could advance 1 more row forward technically if Keith Jeffrey did pass Cody Vanderveer, but the main thing is stay out of trouble and make your way on forward with 1 lap left to go.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. I don't think it was an intentional move that he was attempting there. Just maybe didn't anticipate that it would close as quickly as he did. So yeah, the main focus here for the 88 is just keep it clean, bring it home.
Well, a couple more corners left to survive, and then our main event grid will be set. Cody Vanderveer and Keith Jeffrey started on the front row. Did see a bit of wheel-to-wheel action on the opening lap, but since then, it's been status quo. Vanderveer and Jeffrey to the main event. McAfee and Graham miss out, but the 20 trucks are lined up and loaded, and that's the face of a driver that knows the work is not done.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of a sigh of relief for sure. Not the celebrations you tend to expect to see as we take a look at the results of Vanderveer at least getting a heat win.
Only 2.5 seconds split those 4 as well. They were very closely matched. It just shows that without contact, without the chrome horn, it can be difficult to pass. It can be difficult to follow as well. So now, as mentioned, the 20 trucks are set to make it into our main event grid. We've got a couple of moments, though, before we actually go racing. A new iRacing session to launch. I think we'll step aside here on RaceSpotTV, but don't go far. Main event action to come in the 2025 iRacing Pro 4 Short Course National Series.
I told y'all, we got the game on lock. Crank Lucas the rap deucer. Team Real Racing. Y'all already know we won. Off-road racing, quick as in the desert. To the finish line, passing through the checkers. It's Team Real, we just much better. When we on the track, we apply that pressure. People lined up screaming from the sideline when they see the UT class fly by. Or they see me in the truck doing drive-bys, in the Parker Dam or in the Baja. Every time you see me rolling through inside a buggy and I'm counting up the money cause I came to multiply it. Push a 1200 horsepower in the motor, you don't really want to race me, I dare you to try it. Started up the engine, now my wheels on fire. Zooming through the track while I'm burning up the rubber. Better get them slow waves out of my water. You don't want to see the shark or there's a crusher. It's Team Real, y'all know what the biz. Crank Lucas and I'm spinning on the wheel. Do a 160, pass you so fast when the wind hits your body, get the chills. Telling everybody they can eat my dust, but I guarantee you won't beat my best. Pop a champagne when I'm at the finish line and I'm holding up the trophy and I beat my chest. What first place look like it's me? I don't do twos and I never met a three. People know the Team Real logo when I'm running through the desert and I'm running all through the streets. Never have to cap my race game tight. My vehicles can go all night. Foot up on the gas, I can never brake right because I'm allergic to all the red lights. Team Real, Team Real. Everybody thinking that they faster till they gotta race. Team Real, Team Real. All about the speed and you can see it all up in my face. Team Real, Team Real. Real scared money don't make no money. It's Team Real, Team Real. Hit a motor rumble and the tires burning from the rubber. Team Real, Team Real. Everybody thinking that they faster till they gotta race. Team Real, Team Real. All about the speed and you can see it all up in my face. Team Real, Team Real. Real scared money don't make no money. It's Team Real, Team Real. Hit a motor rumble and the tires burning from the rubber.
You want to know what's going on in your dirt sports world? Whether it's four wheels, two wheels, Dirt Sports World's got you covered. From the dirt to the dunes, we bring you the latest action in racing, to lifestyle, the newest parts, the newest vehicles, and what the superstars of off-road are up to. Check out our social media for up-to-date information on Instagram, Facebook, Dirt Sports World, and more in depth. And check out the magazine at www.dirtsportsworld.com. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Dirt Sports World, for some great videos. So make sure to follow us and come get dirty with us.
Once again, reigning supreme, Connor Barry, the three-time iRacing Short Course National Series champion.
One thing I would like to tell my competitors is the job is not done yet.
You can see that Luke Canutt wants to end the season on a high, did not want the fight to end like this.
Second place in the championship, but that's not over yet.
But the championship leaders banging and rubbing doors on the run towards the line. Whoa. Connor Barry tried everything. Experience from the real world to the virtual as well, because then Dashley makes a mistake.
It's going to be a new Dashlette this year, so hopefully this means that I'll be running up front more.
And history made! Team Gold and Briley on top.
One thing I'd like to tell all the competitors for 2025 is watch out, Team Gold's coming.
The 2-year wait for victory lane may continue for Keaton Swain.
Winning is important. You know, I show up to win, so obviously winning is everything.
Welcome back to RaceSpotTV and to the Firebird Motorsports Park for the 2025 iRacing Short Course Pro 4 National Series presented by Team Real Racing and APV Simulators. Our Junior Kanki Party joined alongside by Joe Peak. And well, instead of just chatting between us instead of the booth, why don't we go and have a quick chat with one of our drivers instead? Joe standing by with 4th place qualifier, Nicholas Dachelet.
Nick, we're getting ready to go racing here for the features with the Triple Crown format. Obviously, you guys have had a number of seasons now to get more adapted to this. What are your feelings on this format?
I have some technical issues getting him in, and we'll see if we can in a few moments' time. Sorry about that, Joe. The joys of live broadcasting, thinking you have the right Discord permissions, but not actually having them. But yes, we will get him in and have a chat with the factory sim sport driver, of course, locked in the team championship fight as well. But yeah, we're just getting these drivers qualified right now, and when we say qualified, that means effectively gridding them up, Joe, as they've finished either in the qualifying session or in the LCQs before. A manual grid process, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. This is just well, speaking of technical issues, this is a technical limitation of the sim. So that's why you're seeing the drivers do this. Might look a little weird, but this allows us to kind of get the format that we want out there. Thankfully, it doesn't take us too long. They've done this enough times that they kind of know the whole process. So it's all just everybody taking their turn and getting out there, and then we get to go racing with everybody out on the track at once, and you won't be wanting for action once that happens. Like we've been saying, so many trucks sharing this same track at once just gets absolute madness out there at this short of course.
And so I called out that we'll have inverts at the start of the night. The invert for this first main event is 0. So Connor Barry qualified on pole. He'll lead us to the green. But the invert for main event 2 is 8. The invert for main event 3 is 4. And again, we're in this unique Triple Crown format, which means the winner of the night is actually the driver that accumulates the most points over these 3 races, Joe. So the inverts are somewhat important at the end of the day. Let's see if we can catch up, though, with Nicholas Dachelet finally standing by with Joe.
Yeah, now we've got Nick up here. Nick, we were just talking about how we've had this format for a while now, so you've had a chance to really form an opinion. How are your feelings on this Triple Crown now that we've been doing it for a couple seasons?
I feel like it's a equalizer for some of the guys that maybe not qualify as good, but I need to work on mine because I usually have a good first race, and then the second and third race is where it kind of falls apart, and I end up like middle of the top 10. So hopefully we can go out there and put 3 rounds together.
That's all about that consistency. Is there any area of the track that you're really worried about, especially early in the races? This place kind of known for things really turning upside down, almost literally sometimes for drivers in a hurry.
Well, we all know that turn 2 gets pretty hectic on the first lap, and then just all throughout, people are going to be throwing sliders in one. You just got to be ready for them. So I feel like this track's going to get very worn in, so there's going to be a lot of slipping and sliding. Should be a good battle. I think the first round here was a testament to how good the racing can be here. So hopefully I'm up there battling with them, and hopefully we can get a podium to end the season.
All right, one last one before you go. Prediction, where you think you're going to wind up end of the night?
I think we have a good shot for a podium, so I want the win. Don't think we have the pace for that, but I feel like we have a good shot for the podium. So hopefully I'll be talking to you later.
All right, we'll watch that top 3. Looks like we're getting ready to go here, Arjuna.
Looks like we're ready to go indeed. The drivers have been through this process before. They know exactly how they need to get themselves gridded back up. So let's dial ourselves up. Starting grid for main event number 1, I should say, with 2 LCQs already in the dust. It is going to be Connor Barry after putting it on pole position. We'll start at the front of the field, but he'll have Keaton Swain, remember, coming off a victory and ending that 1,159-day streak since the last time he won a race. Luke Knapp and Nicholas Dachelet share row 2 with Tyson Miller and Crystal King behind them. Best, I think, qualifying effort for the Shenandoah Shine 278 with Edmondson and McFarlane row 4. It's Cody Winicki and Mason Prey to the rest of the top 10. Watch out for those Impact Sim Sports pair trying to work together to move their way forward. And then Tyler Shattuck and Thad Countryman, 11th and 12th positions. These drivers also thinking about the inverted 8 for main event 2. Drapkin Briley, 13th and 14th, with Sean Winkler, Hadley Boyce, Austin Schreiber, and Cody Vanderveer rounding out to the top 18. And then Eric Jones and Keith Jeffrey, the 20. Remember, Aiden Irvine just there as race control. And Joe, those last 4, in many ways, no expectations, no pressure. They came through the LCQ, they survived that madness, and now they can focus forward as we also focus on a brand new livery for the Boozy Racing colors on Connor Barry, our championship leader.
Yeah, I was noticing that a little bit earlier. I do like what they've done with the truck. Yeah, if you're at the back, honestly, I think one thing that you need to do is just kind of let the race come to you a little bit early on. It is a 10-minute race, so you're going to have a number of laps out there. And like we keep saying, so much is going to be happening. So kind of stay away from all the craziness in front of you and pick up spots as others fall by the wayside, make mistakes, and get tangled with each other.
You can see the field is ready to go. They are just waiting for their instruction from race control before they get released for, remember, a 10-minute main event 1, all building up. 2 minutes added for main event 2, 2 more minutes for main event 3, and the accumulation of points, the most important thing. Don't forget, if you head to boozyjerky.com, use the code iRacingShortCourse.com, iRacing Short Course rather, you can get 15% off your order. I actually found some Boozy Jerky at my local grocery store, so I picked some up, enjoyed it quite a bit, although you need to also find some sort of a pairing that is 18 plus. Not recommended for those under the age of 18. Legal things we got to get out the way.
Exactly, but it sounds like a good time. I am intrigued now. I'll have to try and see if I can find some of this.
Oh, it's the US. It's 21 plus technically, isn't it? Right.
Yes.
I should know that. I've been here long enough. Anyway, how much chaos are you expecting, Joe, given how almost quiet the LCQs were?
I mean, that does tend to bode well. It depends on how you see this. Is this, almost kind of theater rules where if you have a good warm up, does that mean it's going to be a poor race, or are we expecting the reverse, where it's going to show us signs of what to expect from these drivers? Personally, I think that we're going to see a lot of chaos in the mid pack, but the front of the field, I think, is probably just going to try and let this one pan out before they start to really put some moves in.
Again, an additional pace lap, so the iRacing sedan is really getting its tires gripped up out of turn number 1. That is an interesting thing to witness. We also have to just keep in mind the fact that the track is effectively being reset as well. We had qualifying in those 2 LCQs and then jumped into a new session, which means, Joe, the track in main event 1 compared to main event 3 is likely to be very different, especially given how short this track is.
Yeah, and honestly, you think about it, with those extra 4 minutes for the final one, that's almost 8 laps extra, probably about 7 or 6 laps extra that you're going to get out of just a couple minutes added. That really tells you how quickly you go around here.
We are ready to go. Final Triple Crown event of the Pro 4 season, and the front 3 drivers have all won races in this sort of format before. So what will those behind them be looking to do? Crack their way into victory lane. Off we go for 10 minutes, and it's a good start from Connor Barry. Challenge coming from the inside for Keaton Swain, but he should be able to fend off Luke Knapp on the rise up to turn 2. Single file for the top 3 as there's some contact behind them.
Yeah, you got to be careful there. Like I said, mid-pack is where all the action is going to be. They're already losing a little touch with those top 3, and this is what we kind of anticipated as now they get turned around. Somebody almost going over.
I think Thad Countryman had a poor start. I couldn't quite pick up who was in the middle of all of that. It might be Countryman once again. And indeed, yes, I think it is. Lap 1 comes to a close, and there's no competition caution like we have in the regular format events to pack the field back up. This is a 10-minute sprint, and those front 3 drivers are already looking to establish their gap. Tyson Miller and Josh Edmondson squabbling amongst themselves down to turn 3.
And I think this is very smart what we're seeing from those top 3. You kind of let a few laps get in, because if you start attacking one another immediately, you can so easily get mired back and all those drivers behind you lose positions as someone tries to pick you off. Now they've got a gap. Now they can try and get aggressive without worrying about what's behind.
On board with Cody Winicki, we said keep an eye out for the Impact SimSport machines. He's been able to work his way up slightly. His teammate Mason Prater, though, has unfortunately lost a little bit of ground. Down the hill they go. We've only burned 90 seconds off the clock right now as we work back around through the whoops. But Barry is going to lead. The pressure's there from Swain, Canup. Dashalay's got that little bit of a gap to try and close at this point. We've got to somewhat keep an eye out on the fight for 8th as well, because remember, that's the fight for inverted pole position in main event number 2.
Yeah, right now it's Cody Winicki that's got that position. In fact, there's a battle in front of him, so he probably wants them to settle that out, and he's actually going to duck underneath with a move as we see the battle for the lead starting to heat up. Swain deciding now's the go time. He's starting to put on the pressure and look left and right to see if he can unsettle him. That's really what it's all about, thinking a few corners ahead and looking for the launch off the turn rather than the way into it.
Each position is worth a point. It is as simple as that, and so there's no benefit to really finishing that much further up the field. You just need to be consistently at the front. And the last time we raced this Triple Crown format, Barry was on the podium, I think, across of all 3 of the races. Let's see if he can do that again. He's left the door open if Swain can get the 900 horsepower down. I mean, they are flirting with the battle right now. They're putting each other under watch, but they're not really forcing the issue just yet. Swain's going to get a good run out of the final corner, but again, the inside loses its momentum, and this is where Barry will hold on. Now, does Luke Canup decide to go to the outside? Because Nicholas Dashalay has closed the margin, Joe, and he's right on the back of the top 3.
Yeah, I think he lost his chance to try and take advantage of that. You got to be right up there and really watching what's happening, and almost lost a spot to Dashalay, but it looks like he's going to come back at Swain and still try and take this away. We're on board with Dashalay. See, he's got a full view of everything, so he can see who's losing momentum and try to set himself up when those 2 in front of him are fighting.
And you're already seeing a line being burned effectively into the dirt right now. The cushion building up on the outside of turn 1 as they fly off the wall. And now about 4 minutes complete in this first main event. 2 more to come after this. And Connor Barry has effectively, at this point, done enough to wrap up the championship. Joe, the talking point that he gave us coming into the night was stay out of trouble with race control, and the championship was his. Easiest way to stay out of race control's watchful eye: run to the field, keep yourself out of the harm's way.
Exactly. Control the narrative. That's exactly what he's doing. I think that's really smart, and he's using this pole position to great effect, and he knows this is where he's got it now. He's not going to have it in the next one, as it's going to be reversed, and still battle for second place is really heating up. Swain, Canup, and Dashalay make a little contact.
I think the somewhat timid start that we saw on the initial launch of main event 1 is not going to be replicated for main event 2. Main event 3 actually might be somewhat cleaner. The invert of 4 doesn't maybe mix things up as much as the invert of 8 does. Back in the pack, let's check out what's happening. Mason Prater in that Impact SimSports number 3 is directly behind the Red Line All 56 of Zachary Drapkin, 2 drivers that have been in trouble for intentional wrecking earlier this season, but it's good to see them out there and looking to try and win in a fair fight. Crystal King gets barged out wide by Drapkin, and Prater tries to take advantage, but there's contact on the landing, and Tyler Shaddock's got a great view of all of this out of turn 3.
A little sad it didn't work out for Prater, because that was masterful the way he cut back underneath. That's kind of what I've been talking about. You watch what those in front of you are doing, and you set yourself up to capitalize on it. So battles are always going to be a chance to try and make up positions, not necessarily for the 2 that are fighting.
We finished half of this main event. 4.5 minutes left to go. And do my eyes deceive me, or Joe, has a massive cloud come across the track and it's suddenly a lot darker than when we got underway?
A little bit of Winnie the Pooh, big black rain cloud, unfortunately, right now, but thankfully doesn't affect things too much, as the temperature is really not a big talking point in this style of racing. If anything, just maybe change the visibility ever so slightly. I think, if anything, the drivers more focused on whether or not they can distract their rivals.
Almost looked like it might rain, but I don't think we have that threat, unfortunately.
Not on dirt yet.
Not yet. The drivers might be pretty grateful for that. What it will do in certain cases, I was just thinking, is if a driver is being blinded over a specific sight line, that's now gone and not necessarily such a bad problem, especially important given how many of these drivers are in virtual reality and don't have the luxury of turning down their monitor brightness like some may have. Luke Knups on board shows the amount of dirt that's been collected onto the visor, but is that the battle? Is that Keaton Swain looking to the outside and now trying to cut back underneath?
He's trying his best. He's going to be able to get side by side, but he's on the wrong part of it. He'll cut back under it once more, but can he get the launch off the turn? That's the real thing, because now you've got a double left-hander in turn 4. In turn 1, he's just a little too far back.
So Keaton Swain has only won 1 race in these Triple Crown event formats. Connor Barry's got 4, looking to make it 5 and distance himself out from Luke Knupp, also with 4 wins. That's a great swing, though, through 2. But again, Swain left on the outside and now barged out wide by the championship leader. No quarter taken at this point and no quarter given. Luke Knupp's on board, shows him left on the outside, trying to switch back underneath once again. This is really good stuff. Really clean racing between 3 championship fighters all the way through the season.
And that was very clever out of Connor. That just shows you the skill that he has. That he placed his truck very intentionally to kind of force Keaton to have to go wide. That interrupted his momentum. He couldn't capitalize on going the long way around and using the rim shot, if you will. So, yeah, just he knows what he's doing out in front in that number 2.
It's the reason why he is looking like he will become a 4-time championship winner. And when I say 4-time, 4 times in a row. 2 minutes left on the clock, so that should mean 4 laps left to run. And now a couple of truck lengths between the top 2. A fight for 8th position's pretty intense as well. Zachary Drapkin and Evan McFarlane are giving as good as they've got right now, with Crystal King behind them. And there's the contact. That's what I'm mentioning. More contact up towards the corner. Almost 4 wide. Short course action at its best, and Crystal King says thank you very much.
That's what I love about watching her race, is she knows exactly when it's time to get aggressive, and she's not afraid to throw that truck around. 3 wide still behind her. This is exactly what she needs. She's in that inverse position, that pole.
Whoa! That was some airtime for the red line. 056 just about hangs on, but the left front's gone. It's taken too much damage, and Drapkin drops to the back. He'll join Trenton Browley in DNFing this race. Back up front, I think that fight for 8th position now maybe has got a bit of breathing room for Crystal King, but still no breathing room between the top 3. And Dashley's got Edmondson not far behind him with 2 laps left to play.
Now it's really coming down to it. 2 laps goes over in just about a minute, so it's going to be over before you know it, and Swain is still putting the pressure on, but everything he's been trying so far hasn't really panned out. He's got to have to get really creative.
I'm just watching and thinking, if you're behind Connor Barry, he's placing the truck everywhere that you don't want it to be. It's going to take something like this. 1 lap left to go, and Swain's not waiting around. To the lead, and to turn 1, he's got the inside, he's got the point.
He learned from what he's watched from Connor Barry, just kind of leaned on him a little bit, coming around the corner, and that, again, halted his momentum, but Connor's going to come back at him now.
And there'll be 3 wide down to 3. Barry cuts off Keaton Swain. Knupp's going to be left a long way around on the 21 Sim Coaches machine. This has been great. We've got 2 more races after this as well. A drag race potentially for 2nd spot, but the championship leader, looking like he'll be a 4-time champion, wins the first main event of the night. Luke Knupp grabs 2nd away from Keaton Swain on the final lap of the race.
Swain was so close. He was less than half a car down the length of the number 5 when they crossed the line there. He did a good job cutting back, but it was just too little too late.
And maybe his eagerness to go for the win ends up costing him second. He'll start, though, in front of Knupp and Barry once we invert the top 8. Barry grabs yet another race win. That's now 5 in these Triple Crown event formats. Luke Knupp second, Swain third, and Dashley, Edmondson, Miller, Winicki, and King grabbing that inverted pole position and holding off Mason Prater and Evan McFarlane. That's the top 10, and a bit more of a gap starting to build as you find Cody Vanderveer, Tyler Shattuck, Sean Winkler, Hadley Boyce, Austin Schreiber, Thad Countryman, Keith Jeffrey, Eric Jones, and then Zachary Drapkin and Trenton Briley are DNFs in the first race of the night. Let's go, though, and chat with our winner, Connor Barry, standing by with Joe Peak.
All right, Connor, job 1 is done. You take the win. Now you have to start from 8th. What's your approach coming from partway through the field now?
Approach is just gonna be smart out there. The track is very weird. Like, honestly, it's not something that I thought the track was going to do. But we're gonna throw a change at this truck, and hopefully we get, and I hope I can find some more speed out there, and hopefully we can make our way up. It's going to be tough, but it's going to be fun, and just got to be in the top 4, so it's going to be good.
Now, we saw both you and Keaton kind of leaning on one another a little bit in some of the pass attempts. Is this going to have to be a very elbows out race?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely a track where you have to be aggressive, but you still have to be clean. And I think that's what you saw out there. It's going to be aggressive, and people are fighting for points up there, and it's going to be fun.
All right, best of luck coming from 8th place, and we'll see if we get to chat with you again.
Thank you.
It's Connor Barry, regrid in 8th on the inverts, and understand we might want to try and talk to Crystal King here before we get started, but hopefully we'll see if we can get her dragged into the booth here shortly. In the meantime, she sits in a very good position, Arjuna.
And she had to fight her way into that position as well. You can see the field resplendent in their liveries. The Shenandoah Shine 278 has become quite distinctive as well. Remember that we do increase the minutes in this race. We go from 10 to 12, and let's chat to Crystal. She's standing by with Joe.
Crystal, reverse grid. You're going to be starting on the pole with this one. Any nerves?
A little bit. It's been a while. I think that actually the last time that I was on the pole was this race at the Triple Crown last year. So hopefully my luck is as good as last year and I can finish somewhat up here and don't get freight trained.
I'm sure it's going to be a difficult one out there. In such a male-dominated sport, do you find yourself having to be more aggressive to some of the other drivers, or are they all pretty respectful?
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, some people I've raced for a long time and they seem to respect me, and I would like to be more aggressive. I'm just not that aggressive of a driver. I would rather just have a clean race. So I'm learning to be aggressive because that's how you have to be if you want to be up here. And I'm not really up here much because I'm just too busy, like, just not wrecking in the back.
Well, one last one before I let you go. Where do you think you're going to wind up in this, starting from P1? Can a win come away at top 5?
I don't know. A win would be pretty crazy, but it just depends what happens behind me. I get pushed out once, and these guys behind me will get me so fast. So top 5 would be cool, but I honestly just want to finish the race.
All right. We'll keep an eye out for you, and best of luck.
Thanks.
That was Crystal King, our pole sitter for race number 2. Arjuna?
Always great to get that chance to catch up with the drivers, and Crystal in a great position right now. We will get an additional pace lap once again before we get underway. 12 minutes on the clock, and the invert for the third and final main event of the night, I called it out before, is 4. So now it's the top 4 that get flipped around. Remember, Swain, Knupp, and Barry start 6th through 8th positions, Joe, after fighting at the front in the first race of the night.
Yeah, so they've got to hustle. Obviously, they do have plenty of laps to try and get up there, but they're in that spot that I was talking about where craziness happens around you. A lot of times in this style of racing, it's not even your own mistakes that you need to worry about. It's the things that are out of your control that you have to be just eyes on stalks to try and avoid some of the wackiness that can unfold.
And I tell you what, for a driver that we talked about just needing to stay out of race control's wrath to win the championship, Connor Barry's done a good job of avoiding all of the chaos that you speak of, Joe, because he's not had a single penalty point so far this season. He's one of a handful of drivers inside the top 20 to have been able to do that. Can he continue that streak with just 2 race weekends left, including this one, the Shenandoah Shine, 278 in control of the field, though, as we get ready to go. Crystal King out of the final corner, gets us racing from the Firebird Motorsports Park, leaves Cody Winicki in her dust. They're going to be 3 wide behind through the opening corner, hoping they'll survive without a bit too much contact. Swain's left on the outside. He's wheel to wheel with Luke Knupp. I think Connor Barry's lost out as well here, dropping down to 9th position in his fight with Mason Prater. So a tough start for the championship leader into turn 3.
Yeah, not really making progress, at least on the first lap, but he'll have some more chances. I think, like we said, just trying to stay out of trouble in all of this maybe is the best way. Tell you what, Crystal not only had a great start, but she's been managing this race fantastically, really positioning her truck so that Winicki can't seem to get by. And look, she's already got multiple truck lengths ahead.
Oh, Keaton Swain got pushed off into the wall, and that might be his main event at least done. He might be back starting at the tail end of main event 3, but that's a very slow moving 21 as the rest of the field lands in towards that 3rd corner. Knupp's now up to 5th. He's had a great race so far in trying to make sure that he can try and close as much as he can the gap to Connor Barry in the championship fight. Here's what happened. He got out there by himself, Joe.
That can happen sometimes. Just drivers will have a bad landing and the truck will bounce in a way that you don't expect. So it does happen. In that case, it can be a little bit disappointing when just the smallest of errors can end your night.
That is unfortunate. Timing blipped out for a second, but everyone back on our screens now as Evan McFarlane fights with Cody Vanderveer on the edge of the top 10. Said it earlier, even if there are drivers who aren't at the front of the championship, there are drivers fighting for something, and Vanderveer and McFarlane 16th and 17th in points right now. So that's a championship fight playing out wheel to wheel up to turn 2, although not ideal for either of them as Hadley Boyce forces his way on forward.
Yeah, and the more you fight side by side like this, the more ground you're going to start losing to those ahead. For drivers like Knupp and Barry, that's the last thing they want. They need decisive moves to try and get by. And boy, these two are giving no ground. Oh, and that's a little too far to the side for McFarlane. He gets turned.
The KS Industries 444 finds itself in the guardrail, but able to power off down in 19th position. Keaton Swain still sitting in pit lane. See if there's a technical issue that maybe also contributed to that for him. There is Connor Barry up to 7th place right now, and now working on Nicholas Dashley. We talked to Dashley before the first main event. Luke Knupp then up the road. Tyson Miller, Edmondson, Winicki, and still Crystal King leading, albeit with some pressure starting to build, riding on board with the championship leader.
Yeah, Winicki's been starting to get ever closer, riding on board with Barry, looking up towards the front. What she really wants, though, is definitely that those drivers like Barry and Knupp have trouble trying to make their way through the field, because if they can make ground, they're going to be a lot harder to hold back than drivers like Cody and Josh, who are closer to her pace.
I said the last time we had one of these Triple Crown events, Barry finished on the podium in all 3 main events. Don't think that's going to be the case here. It's a good attempt from Cody Winicki. It might even work. Off to turn 1. New race leader. He'll try and clear himself with the slide job. It works out. Edmondson contact with Crystal King, and both of them slow down themselves. And new race leader Cody Winicki tries to pull away as Crystal King bobbles on the inside of turn 2.
Yeah, that was a nice job by Cody, and he got a little lucky there with Crystal and Josh coming together as we watch from on board with Edmondson with his VR headset ready to go. He wants to cut back. Wow, big cut back. He gets a lot of ground initially, but so much more momentum from the 278.
There was plenty of contact down at turn 3 as well, and that's drawn them off the back of the now new race leader, Cody Winicki, who's trying to set sail while he can. We're on the 8th lap of what might be 21 in the second main event. He talks about this being a short track of bull ring. No rest for these drivers on a lap like this, Joe. The corners come at you fast, the action comes at you thick.
Yeah, there's not many places where you really build up that speed. That's why I was saying momentum, oh, so important. Just carrying that speed around each corner onto the next straightaway, giving yourself that little bit of an edge. And more than anything, like I keep saying, corner exit not only helps you pass, it helps you defend.
Especially when you look at how they're ramping off at turn 1. Every time I watch that, I just think there's no way they could do that in the real world. It must feel so uncomfortable, but you know racing drivers, they'll do anything they can to grab an advantage. Edmondson has really been squaring up Crystal King. He's put himself under pressure, though, as now Luke Knupp gets past Tyson Miller. So now 4th position. That could be inverted pole. And Connor Barry says, me too, please. Wow, what a move.
That gets him into 5th. Yeah, this is where it starts to get dangerous for those top 3 because you have your race winners in there and just breathing down their neck at this stage. But we're already almost halfway through this race. So it took them a long time for that first little bit. And the higher up the field you go, it tends to be a little bit harder to try and make those spots.
Sliding through 3 again. Crystal King losing out to your race leader. I think Edmondson's had enough. He's going to try and force his way through the final corner. A little bit of a hip check through the mid part, and that slows down Crystal King just enough that now second, firmly in the grasp of the 58. Through goes Luke Knupp straight away, though. No hanging about there. A little bit of rude. Parks it on the apex and the exit of the corner, but gets it done. Now, what does Connor Barry do? Again, remember, can't get involved, doesn't want race control to penalize him. Championship would be his at the end of the night if he can do that.
Yeah, and man, that was just a textbook slider by Knupp. Placed his truck perfectly. Crystal couldn't do much about it. And Connor Barry starting to come through as well. He gets to the inside. It's 3 left-handers in a row, so he's going to be sitting pretty here.
I always love looking at the look of focus on some of these drivers' face. Connor Barry gets the wheel hand over fist. 180 plus degrees of lock there through the tight hairpin. Watch the landing. Crystal King almost landed on the back part of that truck.
It's always the thing you got to be careful of. You got to be close to your competitors, but you can't get too close. That can really ruin both your nights in a hurry. She's still in the top 5, and it's Dashalay who's sitting behind her, but 2 of the quicker drivers certainly made quick work of that. Question is, can Knupp and Barry get to the absolute front now?
Confirmation from pit lane, by the way. Keaton Swain broke the right front on the wall going in through the opening corner. So that's why he is watching from pit lane, joined by Hadley Boyce, the 2 championship rivals. Oh, it's an audacious move to go around the outside down at turn 3. But if you're the championship leader, you might as well try some audacious stuff. Barry back into line. And again, sitting in that inverted pole position. Cody Winicki in a great spot right now. 4.5 minutes to go when he crossed the line or so to grab a race win as Nicholas Dashalay slide job city now on Crystal King.
He was very shallow into that one. She saw it coming from a mile away. Tries to cut back as just in front. We got a nice little battle, though, between these 2.
Down through 3 they go. Luke Knupp and Connor Barry are still going wheel to wheel as well. So compared to the LCQs, which are nice and orderly, there's a lot more wheel-to-wheel action, which is exactly what you want to see. Now Connor Barry gets through on Luke Knupp. That comes out of nowhere. From 8th to 3rd, although he overcooks it on exit and up to turn 2, Knupp tries to respond up the inside, and that APV Simulator's number 5. This is what Edmondson wants as well, because he's closing on the race leader. 3.5 minutes to go.
Oh, I think that's it for Barry. He's managed to get it done. Yeah, just slides in front of him. So no response from Knupp, at least at this stage, although he tries to get back underneath him coming through turn 4. And now he is fully through. But look at the gap he's got to make up. 1.5 seconds here is a long ways to get to Josh Edmondson.
3 minutes on the clock as well, which at a track like this actually is a fair few laps. If you were racing at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, you'd be talking about just the 1 lap and the extra time you need to complete that. Those are the life standings, by the way. So Barry would be 2 points in front, or 2 positions in front of Luke Knupp. Edmondson's not far off the hunt. Winicki's there. Dashley's there as well. 1 race left to go, and it's anyone's, if you ask me. Edmondson within a truck length now of the race leader.
I almost wonder if Winicki and Edmondson need to work together a little bit here, because if they start fighting, Barry and Knupp are going to catch them in a hurry. And yes, they both want the win on this, but they can hold it off maybe until the last lap.
It's been a great race. This has been a great event as well. And don't forget, as much as we might not have a championship on the line next week, anytime you go to Crandon, Joe, you know it's going to be a good time when you send 20 trucks 10 wide into the opening corner. Contact through turn 1 here as Edmondson tries to move Winicki. Don't think that was on purpose, though. Just grabbed too much speed through the opening corner.
Well, and Cody landed kind of weird on the wall, so yeah, that hurt his exit. So that's why they're suddenly battling side by side. But Cody's going to have the inside, and he's going to force him out, so he's not going to let him have it easily.
And I think Connor Barry sniffing in the water here. The shark is looming large. They'll have 3 laps to go rather, as they cross the line once again. Edmondson does lead, and 2 positions now behind Connor Barry. If it finishes like this going into the final race, Barry's 3 truck lengths behind the leader though at most, and now gets to the inside of Cody Winicki.
And he started this one from 4th, which is where he's going to be sent back to. So Edmondson will be in a very good spot if he can take this win. He knows he can win from that P4.
I was talking about Edmondson preferring the Pro 2s. We still have the whole summer before we can even talk about the Pro 2s. He wants to win now in the Pro 4s. Barry is there. 2 laps left to go. Edmondson hoping that Winicki puts up enough of a fight. He'll slow down those behind. And Winicki has had a very good season. 5th in points coming into the night, but opens the door for Barry to get it done through turn 2.
I don't know how he got that truck slowed up in time. I thought that was going to be a huge accident right there. But not only did he get it wound up, he got it accelerating out of the corner, and that's giving him more chances as he's going to lean on him once again. This is the move, just kind of push them out wide in turn 4.
And if Barry gets it done, it would move him to within 1 point, or rather 3 points of Edmondson. Gives him that little bit more breathing room, but at the same time, cannot afford to get too physical here. Keeps an eye out in the rearview mirror. Luke Knupp thought about it. Barry does get, though, a nose in front, down to turn 3 for the final time.
He's really good under braking down into turn 2, but he didn't quite do it last time. Can he finish the job this time?
Josh Edmondson will exit out of the final quarter and take his first win in these Triple Crown formats. Heartbreak for Cody Winicki, who drops to 4th in the closing stages. Barry and Knupp fight their way back to the podium spots and will run 1 and 2 going into the final 14 minutes of action at the Firebird Motorsports Park.
Wow. What a final couple laps that was. An incredible job by both Edmondson and Barry, frankly, to make up all the positions that they did in those last 6 laps.
And that also tells a story in Team Championship. Remember how close it was between Factory SimSport and Channel 199 Sim Racing? Well, Edmondson and Barry doing exactly what they want to do, with Luke Knupp slotting in behind them. Cody Winicki, 4th for him. He'll be one, though, to watch, starting from inverted pole when we get underway. Dashley, King, Miller, Winkler, and then Drapkin and Vanderveer. Only 7.5 seconds covering the top 10. A little bit closer than in the first of the main events, with Prater, Jeffrey, Briley, McFarlane, Countryman Jones, Shiver, and then Shattuck, followed by Hadley Boyce and Keaton Swain. Let's see, though, if we can catch up with a couple of the drivers before we get back underway. First up, I think we should hear from our race winner, Josh Edmondson. So let's see if Joe Pete can dial him up.
Yeah, it looks like we've got him here. Josh, impressive win out there. That had to have been just, numbers swirling around your head the entire time. It looked complicated trying to both attack for the lead while watching out for Luke and Connor.
Yeah, well, there's no mirrors in here, and I didn't even look behind me, to be honest. I was just trying to focus forward and make some clean passes, and yeah, this track is really tough to pass at anyway, so yeah, really happy to be able to get that win.
So now you start behind the 5 and the 2 truck. Can you repeat that? Can you get by them, or giving them the track position, is that going to make it a little too difficult?
Track position is huge here, but it's bullring, so just about anything can happen. Luke's really fast, I know, here, so it'll be really tough to pass him. Yeah, we'll try though. We'll try and keep it clean and have some fun.
I know you said you'll try and keep it clean, but with the championship practically off at this point, does that open you up to try and maybe do a few things you wouldn't if you had to worry about numbers?
Yeah, I don't know. I won't really get too crazy anyway. I got a lot of respect for a lot of these guys around here. We've all raced each other a lot, so I'm not going to do anything too silly. And yeah, like you said, I can't really gain anything. Maybe try and go for this win, but yeah, I don't want to earn it in a bad way. So yeah, hopefully we can put it together.
All right, that was Josh Edmondson starting from 4th, our winner in race 2. Arjuna?
Let's see if we can catch up with Cody Winicki as well in the Racecraft number 9. Now, Cody, it's maybe not the question you want me to ask you, but I've got to ask. Starting speed. Been penalized for that once this season. What's the plan going into turn 1 this time around?
Stare at my speedo and make sure I'm good to go this time.
Of course, put that aside. This is a great opportunity for you to grab a win. What happened in that previous main event? It looked like plenty of wheel-to-wheel action and dicing between those front 4 for the majority of the race.
Yeah, it was good racing. It was just difficult to get the truck to rotate, but we took the sway bar off for this one, and we're going to see what we can do.
Answered my next question. You're a professional. I was going to ask about changes. Cody, best of luck for this main event.
Thank you.
Joe, I love it when they read our minds and they know exactly what we want from them.
Makes our life a little bit easier, but I mean, it's not going to be an easy life in this race. You heard many drivers talk about tonight that track position is so important, and this place just hands you things out of left field. So a longer race now, more chances to try and make it back up, but you really can't try and take for granted what's put in front of you.
This is a race where we'll keep those points up on the right side of the screen so you can keep a theme of the relative storylines, but it's pretty simple in terms of championship. Connor Barry stays out of trouble. The championship is his, and the sun has dipped below the horizon as we head into this final race of the night, I guess. And, well, it's still a funny sight seeing the iRacing sedan pace car work its way around the Firebird Motorsports Park, seemingly with no issues, no slipping and sliding.
No, I remember we covered a race some seasons ago where when they did have the mid-race caution here and they sent it out, it was going probably a good 80 miles an hour and actually leaping over the jumps, and that cracked us up pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, this driver looks like not only is he a professional, he has got the right tires underneath him. What are your expectations then, Joe, as we get ready to go?
Well, last race of the night, I think you're going to see a lot of drivers throw caution to the wind. I think it's going to be a little bit more crazy there, or all through the field.
And there's only one more round of the championship left after this as well. So we are very much headed into the final stages of this Pro 4 National Series. How this year has flown on by. And now Cody Winicki in control of the field, hoping he does not pick up a second penalty for an incorrect start procedure. Off and away he goes, and 14 minutes thrown on the clock, and I think we're good. Battle for seconds sees Knupp and Barry alongside. We ride on board with Josh Edmondson, squeezed by Nicholas Dashalet, and squeezing happening for second. Bit of contact, Dashalet gets shoved up to turn 2.
I don't know how these drivers manage to sort out what's going into these corners at the start of this race. It is absolute madness into there, but the top 4 actually are almost nose to tail now, so they've gotten single file quickly.
Nice, tidy start, all things considered. It is Connor Barry, as you can see on the right side, still leading in the Triple Crown points format. across of these 3 main events. It's Luke Knupp only 3 points, aka 3 positions behind. The problem is, he's in 3rd, Connor Barry's in 2nd. There's not really too many points for him to grab. As Cody Wadicki dropping down.
He's just pulled off to the side of the track. I'm not sure if he's had a technical issue or what. Didn't seem like he had damage, but he's parked it, and I think he's done.
You are right. Parked it and in pit lane now. We'll see if we can get word from down on pit lane. But that is odd. It's not 100 laps, by the way, in this race. It is just the 14 minutes as we've been calling out. Now, has he broken the right front on landing here? That's the only thing. A car's not turning, that's for sure.
So yeah, he must have gotten some damage then. I didn't see a black and orange flag, so it shouldn't have been bad enough to end his race, but it looks like he does not have enough. There we go. We're watching on board, and yeah, really. Oh, here we go. No, that's this corner. He did have a bad landing. He was quite far in the right front, so it could have broken that.
But the steering wheel kind of goes straight as well. It's, I don't know. That's a weird one. That. We'll see if we can get a better update from the pit lane, as we mentioned. Does mean, though, Connor Barry leads. Dashalay's now in front of Luke Knupp through all of that. And so Connor Barry in the perfect position. Like you said earlier, Joe, writing the narrative to close out this penultimate round of the season.
Not only is he leading, it's 2 seconds the gap right now. Remember, he took the fastest lap in qualifying. That's really bad news for everybody else, unless he has some sort of hiccup. I think he's got the pace to just basically manage it from here.
This is ideal situation. I think there's going to be no doubt we will be talking to champion Connor Barry, 4-time consecutive champion Connor Barry at the end of the night. Nicholas Dashalay's in a great position to grab some very valuable championship points, though. He needs Josh Edmondson to really lose out, though, to grab 3rd. Not much that he can do looking forward. Crystal King's clear of Tyson Miller. As mentioned, teams and drivers hoping to end their season with as many points as possible. Luke Knupp's really on the hunt here.
Yeah, he is getting close to the back of Dashalay, and he's going to try and dive down to the inside of turn 2, but Dashalay's smart. He gives him some space and carries the speed off the corner. That'll keep him at bay, although he goes right back underneath, and now he's going to shove him.
Contact, the story of short course racing. Through the whoops, Knupp gets lifted on the rear end by Josh Edmondson, but they all work it out. No changes in position. And the red line all 56 of Zachary Drapkin is suddenly there as well. So is Crystal King. Sean Winkler's not too far behind. But the choo-choo train building behind Dashalay. Now almost 3 seconds, the gap to the front.
I think this is where Josh really needs to get much closer to these two and their fight, because they're getting very aggressive out there. They're going to slow each other up. That's going to mean opportunities for the 58 to cut by the pair of them in one swift move.
Fiberglass flying. Pick that up for me, please, and put it on the side of the track. Luke Knupp magically gets it reattached to him, though. At least as it stands for me right now, race control might have a slightly different perspective, but Joe, I don't think Connor Barry's done anything tonight that I think he's got to be worried that points would be taken away. So not only is he looking like he'll wrap up the championship, but he'll do so by winning what will be his 4th Triple Crown event. Only he and Luke Knupp have won these events before, and now Luke Knupp's only got 2 to Connor's 4.
It's really been a Connor Barry world in this race, in all of these Triple Crown races. As we watch on board with Drapkin just behind this battle, I feel like things getting a little bit heated because there's a lot of body parts missing off of Luke Knupp as once again he tries to get underneath, and we check in behind them between Miller and Briley as well, fighting for 8th.
I wonder if to some degree this is just how aggressive with the lines Knupp is being. Long way around. He gets a good exit through the whoops. He's up to 2nd. But watch the exit here. Will he clear himself? Edmondson tries to as well. Great run from both of them. Dashley drops off the podium spots.
Yeah, exactly like I was saying. Josh, was waiting for an opportunity. And Nicholas says, hello, I'm still here. Thankfully, that doesn't send them both off course, but he's going to give him another little hello down into turn 2. And actually, is he going to get it back? He is, at least for a time being.
Edmondson almost slipped off the track, and they sandwich themselves 3 wide through 3. Drapkin in the middle somehow gets the better of it than Dashley. I mean, this is great. I love my Wednesday nights, and Joe, I've got to say, it's been great having you along as well.
I'm so glad to be back in this one. I almost thought Crystal King was going to get a couple spots. We watched from on board with her now. And yeah, look at them. They're going to just send each other off the circuit. She just needs to set herself up with a good corner exit. Oh, but the track is blocked here.
That's the problem. There's this contact, but they still park it on the apex, right? This is great stuff. This track, it's such a boring. It invites this sort of madness, and next week's action's not going to be by any means less fierce. Oh my days! Oh my days! Nicholas Dashley, what happened there?
Oh, and things just, like I said, we're getting super aggressive. I expected that here last race of the night, and sometimes that means things just kind of tip over the edge. That does mean one more position for Keaton Swain, by the way. He's up to 14th, just as a heads up.
He'll take that, but definitely not where he wanted to be right now. He's not even top 10 in the points on the night. Here's a look at what happened. Oh, that's ugly. Oh.
Yeah, you hit those K rails, and unfortunately, they're not going to move as heavy as these trucks are. So that just took them out almost immediately.
Yeah, that's one of those things where in the real world you might actually move the wall with a contact that big, but in the sim, it's unforgiving, unrelenting, any other adjective you want to describe something that is not going anywhere. Fight with Trenton Briley alongside of Mason Prater. This is 7th and 8th positions. Mason Prater has had a quiet but steady day so far, and might be grabbing some very, very good championship points after a bit of a roller coaster season for him. We, by the way, are halfway through this final main event of the night, Joe.
So just got to do all that all over again. And a few drivers hoping it isn't as bad for them in the second half, and that things can maybe start looking up. Trenton Briley, one of those on Prater, and almost tries to push him out of the way, but can't quite get through. Can he cut back underneath as they go through turn 3? Nope, the 3 is just going to plop himself right where he wants to be.
Fiberglass budget for these trucks, by the way. I mean, it just blows the mind how big it must be. They get 3 fiberglass reattached after every single race. Prater's a little bit squirrely and out of sorts, and he won't be able to take advantage of the slide job thrown from Briley. He now covers the inside, back up towards turn 2. 5.5 minutes to go, and it's about 5 seconds the margin between Barry and Knupp. Knupp's pulled an advantage on Josh Edmondson as well. That's why we're focusing on all of this. Prater back up the inside, physical, but gets it done.
Yeah, I got a feeling that this is not over ahead of them. Winkler and King also in a nice little tussle. Crystal up to the top 5, at least for a brief moment. Now Sean's going to try and take that back away. He's very shallow into the corner, though. This will give her a chance, but no. Nicely placed by the 720.
This is a bit more respectable racing, given some of the other things that we've seen so far. Earlier this season, there was a change, Joe. Race Control went from requiring drivers to submit incident reports to automatically going through and reviewing everything on every lap automatically just by default, which we've got to say, kudos to the Race Control team for taking on that burden.
Indeed, and as far as the fiberglass goes, sometimes I wonder if they just have a bulk discount with how much they're able to reattach and loosen it here. And once again, Winkler is not done with Crystal; she's trying to fight back.
They get free wraps as well on their fiberglass, which is not bad. Maybe Winkler has negotiated that deal. Ran a very tight line because he was very scared that Crystal King was going to run into the left rear quarter panel and just slightly nudge the 720 out of the way. Winkler's had a very, very strong season. 8th in points, been on the podium. Long Beach in particular was one where he shone as we check back in with Briley and Prater, who continue to knock 7 bells out of one another. And guess what? The Terminator, Tyson Miller, has joined the fun as well. Don't fight with him. He'll win that fight.
No doubt. This is going to be fun to watch between the 3 of them. And again, if you're that 3rd car in line, you're sitting in the best position because those 2 are going to be distracted. All you got to do is set yourself up and really get the launch off the corner.
So Dashley, McFarlane, and Winicki watching on from the sidelines. Cody Winicki still going to grab 9th in this event, so that's going to leave him very, I think, comfortably in that 5th position going into the final round of the championship. Again, remember, the Big House, Crandon International Raceway, next week. Same time, same place, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern on the iRacing Short Course and RaceSpotTV channels. Oh, Briley gets the inside, holds on.
Got to watch out for that little jersey barrier on the inside as well. You see a couple of them clipping it a bit, and that could send the truck around in a hurry. That one we've seen all night, of course, just using the banking on the outside right up to the wall to try and help carry the speed and the traction. That was a big hit behind between Briley and Miller, though.
You know what? 8 brakes are better than 4, it turns out. That contact wasn't as significant, but, you know, sometimes when I see it in sim racing, you just kind of have to call that out. Barry's lead, by the way, is now 6 seconds. So not only does he have the clean air, he's just dominating. He's driving away from the rest of the field. And you called it earlier, Joe. You know, it's Connor Barry's world. Right now, we're all just living in it.
Yeah, like I said a little bit earlier, as soon as he had that gap, as soon as he had that clear air, it was going to be so difficult to stop him. Barring lap traffic or an unlikely mistake out of him, I didn't see the other cars catching up to him. He's only got 2 minutes to go, so precious few laps for this to wrap up. And he is catching the lap traffic for what it's worth.
This will mean he will have won 5 of the 9 events this season. That guarantees he's won half the events over the entire 10-round championship. We got to fight for the final step on the, or second and third steps, rather, of the podium, at least in this particular race. If Edmondson gets in front of Knupp, they'll be tied on points, which, don't trust me on the count back. It could actually shake up who finishes second on the night here, Joe, with, what, 3 laps left to go.
Yeah, you don't ask me to do math on air. It's a really bad idea, but I'm sure they have the system all worked out, so they'll figure it out for us. But yeah, this just shows you every position counts in these things.
I'm asking race control right now, just in case. Just in case. You never know, and you want to be ready for every circumstance. Connor Barry is going to cross the line. He should be well and truly clear to start what will be the final 2 laps of this race. Knupp's running the higher line, Edmondson the slightly tighter line, and the tiebreak is the race 3 finish. So if Edmondson gets up to second on the night is his as well.
Well, that makes it nice and simple. So, Edmondson, the question is, does he know that? And is he aware of that situation? Because he might not while he's sitting there inside the cockpit as we check back in. Is this white flag coming out?
White flag should be coming out based on 20-odd seconds remaining for Barry. Well, I thought Luke Knupp was going to almost roll over there. He was so sideways, but that's just how these drivers take that. 1 lap to go. Josh Edmondson's do or die right now.
So will he go do or die? He said that he's not going to do anything that's going to get him in trouble. So I think he's still thinking big picture a bit, but let's watch.
Hand over hand, yoinked the handbrake as well. Oh, he tried to use the berm, but I think Knupp's got just enough through the final 2 corners. Edmondson will give it a good go, but top of the screen, surely confirming himself as a 4-time on the bounce champion. It's Connor Barry once again on top at the Firebird Motorsports Park.
I mean, clinical, just clinical. When he was put back with the reverse grid, he didn't let it phase him. Still came away with a podium finish in that one. As a few drivers really close across the line. That was King coming home with 7th, side by side with Prater.
And if Prater had finished in 7th, that would have actually dropped him behind someone in the 9th point standings. That's how close these Triple Crown races can be. And I really do enjoy the alternate format. Next week, we'll have the competition caution that packs the field up in our main event. It'll just be 1 main event rather than the 3. And Connor Barry stands on top. He's got a teammate alongside. Channel 199 Sim Racing will be very happy with how the team championship plays out. But Barry, we'll talk to him. We'll confirm if he is the champion. Luke Knupp grabs 2nd. Edmondson 3rd. Drapkin, Winkler, Prater, King, Briley, Miller, and Shattuck. The rest of the top 10. And this time a bigger margin starting to build. Keaton Swain, Vanderveer, Schreiber, and Jones. Those are the only drivers left on the lead lap. Jeffries 1 lap adrift. Hadley Boyce's 3 laps adrift, with Dad Countryman 5 laps down, and DNFs for Dashley, McFarlane, and for Cody Winnicki. Let's see, though, if we can start catching up with some of the drivers. Let's start with Josh Edmondson. He's standing by with Joe Peak.
Indeed, it wound up being a third, Josh. We asked you if you were gonna try anything wild. We didn't see anything wild, but it certainly looked like things were fierce out there during the race.
Oh yeah, that's the nature of Firebird. It's bullring. You just got to get the elbows out, and I was trying to keep it clean, and we did for the most part. And I had to make a couple aggressive passes. Had a good battle with a few people there, but got a little bit of damage and just tried to maintain there. And then, man, I had a scare with a few laps to go. My spotter told me I only have 2 laps of fuel left, and so I was charging hard trying to catch Luke, and then I started getting concerned, and I ran out like right after the line, so just barely made it.
Wow, whoever put the fuel in got it just right then. But talk about that fight with Luke, because I don't know if you were aware at the time, if you had passed him, that would have meant second on the night because the points were so close. Were you keeping track of that during the race?
No, I was thinking about it. I actually wondered at one point during the race, like, man, I wish I had somebody in here to tell me, if I got him, would that be second or not? And I didn't think it would, so I wasn't gonna, really force it. And then, like I said, the fuel thing too, I got a little scared there. So on the second to last lap, I was starting to fuel save, and then I got the white flag and realized I could charge, and then made a mistake anyway. So. It was, he made some passes there and on Dachelette, and we had a good battle there, and he got a nice gap once he got ahead of both of us, and Dachelette and I were getting a little aggressive there for a minute, so we kind of lost too much ground to really catch back up.
Well, a third in the race means still a third on the night in the Triple Crown. Who helped put you on the podium?
Got to shout out the team, everybody. Channel 199 Sim Racing. Connor, congrats on the championship. I think that wrapped it up for him. He's been unreal this season. And then the sponsors, Track Racer, coming on board. And then also my sponsor, Pimax VR and Racecraft.
It's Josh Edmondson coming home P3, and I believe we've got Luke Knupp as well, finishing second both in the race and in the points tonight. Luke, we heard Josh's perspective. You were the one having to deal with it, looking, well, not in the mirrors necessarily, but having to try to play that rear guard. What was it like with that pressure?
It was tough. He was laying it all, and I saw him slowly catching up, and those last 10 laps I was fighting for everything I had. So super stoked to get another second, another podium. I don't know if this wraps up second in the championship, but it surely definitely makes it easy going into next week, and then knowing I don't have a championship to worry about is always nice. So congrats to Connor on a gnarly season. I've never seen anything like it. He was just better than us all season, and he knew it. I know he did. So congrats to him, congrats to Keaton and everyone for a great season, and we got one more round to give it our all.
Yeah, I mean, early in the race, we had Cody have something happen. We think there was maybe damage on the truck, and as soon as that was the case, we saw that there was a 2-second gap up to Connor. What was going through your mind when you saw that up ahead?
Haters are going to think it's a lie, but when I saw Cody break and Connor already had a 2-second gap, I let Dashley go by, and I wanted to have a little bit of fun. I knew I had nothing for Connor, especially in the conditions, so it was going to be a boring 14 minutes by myself. So I let Dashley go by, and we had a little bit of fun, I'd say. Hopefully put on a good show for the fans.
Well, we appreciated it. It did give us a great show. Speaking of a good show, who helped put on this show for you tonight?
For sure. I just got to give a huge shout out to PV Simulator. They came on huge this season, and not only for the series, but for me as well. And so huge thanks to them. And then Team Gold Esports for all they do. You know, we haven't given up all season. We've been a tick behind compared to last season. We haven't given up. So still got one more round of the Pro 4 Championship to give it our all, and I'm excited to do it with them.
All right, that was Luke Knupp, who comes home P2, finishes second in the Triple Crown. But as big of a show as he was given, it was just a clinic up at the front, Arjuna, with our winner.
It's another Triple Crown win for Connor Barry, and no trouble with race control means, Connor, you are confirmed a 4-time iRacing National Pro 4 Series champion. How does it feel? I can see the smile on your face.
Oh yeah, I'm so pumped. It definitely was one of my best seasons ever. It was just awesome. My speed this year has been absolutely insane, and I'm so pumped that I was able to go out there. I got first the first one, I went from 8th to 2nd, and then I managed to go from 3rd to 1st. So I won again, and then a 4-time champ. I'm so pumped. It's been a ton of work, and this season was definitely good, and it's going to be good. And we got the Pro 2 next, and then go into the finals, and we got one truck that is absolutely insane. And we're going to go try to sweep this whole thing.
You talk about insane. 5 wins, and we still have one more round to go. So technically, you could win 6 of the 10 rounds of this championship. What's kind of come together? Because, consistency is so important. And Joe mentioned this at the start of the broadcast. Staying out of trouble in a series like this, it can be easier said than done.
Oh yeah, I think honestly the biggest change was focusing on myself and focusing on bringing a truck that's good. A year ago, I struggled in qualifying, and it made the championship good, but definitely was tighter, and I didn't win as much as what I would have hoped for. So this year, I focused on being just smart and smooth. I focused on qualifying. We got 5 poles out of, I think, 5 or 6 pole positions, which is definitely the biggest help here. That's honestly what started tonight off good, because we were able to go out there and start out front. And then honestly, just being smart out there is big. It's definitely, this type of stuff can get crazy and bumpy out there. It's just about trying to be smart and trying to be cautious. The first and the second one, I was in 8th until the 5th lap, and then I started to get some moves up there, and then so it's definitely is crazy out there, and I'm pumped that I was able to go out there and win it again.
Congratulations, Connor. Before we let you go, who made this all possible? The team behind the scenes.
For sure, I want to give a big thanks to Boozy Jerky. They have been a big sponsor of this series, and they came on board for these final 2 events. So I want to give a big thanks to them. If you guys, if you want some food, that is definitely a spot. It is super good. These snacks are good. I want to give a big thanks to my teammates, Josh out there. I think he got 3rd, so I'm pumped that he was able to go out there and put in a good drive. Big thanks to all of you guys and Drake for spotting. It was definitely a big help out there. So, yeah.
Congrats, Connor. We'll see you next week for a championship swan song.
Thank you.
A swan song where no pressure is on the line, that is for sure. May 21st, same place, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern on the RaceSpotTV and iRacing short course channels. That Boozy Racing entry gets to head out onto track one more time. But for Joe Peak alongside myself, Arjuna Kankipati, Hugo Luis behind the controls all night long. Thanks for joining us. Connor Barry's a 4-time champion. He's inevitable. He is the one. We'll see you next week to see if anyone can stop him for the final time this season. Once again, reigning supreme, Connor Barry, the 3-time iRacing Short Course National Series champion.
One thing I would like to tell my competitors is the job is not done yet.
You can see that Luke Canutt wants to end the season on a high, did not want the fight to end like this.
Second place in the championship, but that's not over yet.
But the championship leaders banging and rubbing doors on the run towards the line. Whoa. Connor Barry tried everything. Experience from the real world to the virtual as well, because then Dashley makes a mistake.
It's going to be a new Dashlette this year, so hopefully this means that I'll be running up front more.
And history made! Team Gold and Briley on top.
One thing I'd like to tell all the competitors for 2025 is watch out, Team Gold's coming.
The 2-year wait for Victory Lane may continue for Keaton Swain.
Winning is important. I show up to win, so obviously winning is everything.